foundation for me is I grew up in church. You know, I grew up in gospel. The gospel background as a musician. You know, when I first moved up to New Jersey, I'm from Georgia originally. Born in Georgia, raised in Alabama. And when I got to Jersey, and it was always, you know, guitar and drums and piano that I was known to do. You know? Not many people knew I could sing until I started writing and producing and putting my voice on certain records. And just, I mean, just by God's blessing, He just created a way and opportunity for me. And that's just been phenomenal for me. I mean, it's coming from a very poor background, I guess you could say. He's blessed me and my family's life tremendously through the music and the power of music and me being able to play it and write it.
Did you ever think it would come to this? Like, you're playing in church. You know, I heard you talk about how you work with your dad in ministry. And I heard you talk about how your mom is also a minister.
Right.
Wow, that is...
Yeah.
How did you, I mean...
Double dose.
Yes, yes. How was that for you coming up? And if mom is a minister, we have to be talking about holiness. So how was that for you coming up and now you are this giant? And I know it's because of the anointing that's on your life.
Most certainly.
We got that, yeah.
Of course.
So how is mom and dad making the adjustments with their son who is now rising to kingship? Not to take anything away from anybody else.
Oh, that's beautiful.
But how are they adapting with you and growing with you on that?
Well, you know, it's never been a road or hill to climb, so to speak, and it's never been sort of a bad sort of image and look on me. I've tried to remain respectful throughout my entire career when it comes to music. One, because of that, you know, I know my mother would be certainly disappointed in me. So, I mean, I've always wanted to keep that essence of class and elegance in my music. And it just, I think it's all coming full circle now because the more mature you get, you should become a bit more classy and elegant. So I think it's just all working out for me at this point. And, it doesn't look like it's forced. It doesn't look like it's something I'm trying to do. Just a natural thing. And so I fell in love with songs that had meaning in essence. Even when you go back in hip-hop, a lot of the hip-hop artists, they never used certain words. They never used the N word. They never used the B word, the H word. Right. That was not a part of their repertoire. I mean, but the music was still absolutely amazing, and it still is today. When you think about most of the hip-hop back in the day, you know, not the 90s. I'm not talking about the 90s. Further back in the early days. So to me, it's about being conscious of what you write. You know, understanding, okay, this is something that's going to inspire, influence, and it may offend, you know, some people. So it's important that we take an initiative to write certain songs and come out with certain lyrics that have respect for women, respect for yourself, that will inspire the young generation in a really powerful way. Because I mean, they're going into it almost seems like a spiral downfall when you look at the influences that they have and the way they look at words these days. It seems like the words don't have any meaning, but they are very powerful.
Yes.
And they need to understand how powerful the words are. And I think if they do get that point, they're going to be writing about much stronger things, much better lyrics, and they'll be inspiring artists to do things differently.
So you're 20 years in the game.
God bless. Yeah.
20 years and still very, very powerful and yet growing. Your transition into the independent. Talk to us about those growing pains and how you have had to reinvent yourself, you know, to remain relevant. What was that process like for you as an artist, transitioning into owning yourself?
Yeah. Well, it's one of those things where you have to jump out there, you know, and by faith, and you can't expect something to happen right away. You know, it's going to take work and time. Yes, I mean, of course, I had to stay with it. I mean, I had to stick with it and not give up when album sales wasn't as good. Because in the beginning, I got into this because I love it. It wasn't about making money. And fortunate, you know, that this is a business that you can make money in. But ultimately, my passion is just about making good music and playing good music, singing, and those things. So the transition, business-wise, was just making sure I had the right team, you know, with me. You know, I've had to go through several people, unfortunately, but it's all a part of trying to make the best situation possible, that we can all win together. So I mean, that's tough. That's very tough, especially having to get rid of a partner who's been a partner for years and move on to the next stage. But sometimes that's what, the concept of the album Bridges is about. Sometimes you build them, which the main thing you want to build them so you can continue to keep crossing. But unfortunately, you may have to tear a few down, burn a few, as they say. But I mean, that's tough because you lose a friend and a family in the process of that too. But you just keep moving and you stay focused, And I've always looked at myself as being able to control my own destiny because I write, produce, and all of the above. So it's never been that concern of mine, like, okay, where am I going to get songs from? How soon and how long is it going to take? I work very, very quick. So it's ultimately about how quick and how fast can I get it done and how efficient and the quality that I put into it. So, and I'm always focused. I try to stay as focused as possible. I mean, there's not a lot of distractions in my life. Not. I wouldn't say there's any distractions. I'm really, really focused at this point. And it's good that I got a certain mindset that keeps me, away from all the negative. It keeps me away from all the, the crap that could, as they say in church, the devil's, influences that he tries to, exactly.
Yeah.
So I pray. I mean, there's another thing. I'm very prayerful. Regardless of, I do music that's about love and sex and things like that, but I still try to keep it at a certain level of respect. Mm-hmm. Because I still feel that, the God in me is not going to let me go too far.
Right. We're gonna wrap up in just a little bit, but I want to ask you, how do you feel about, and I've heard this question, you've been asked before, R&B. It went through a period of struggling, and there have been some advocates that have come on the scene, such as yourself, Tyrese, who are seeking to keep the art form thriving. I personally don't see it going anywhere, but where do you see the art form? Will it return to the Marvin Gaye era? Will it return to that Motown sound, Isley Brothers? Will it come back to that? Because when I listen to music, which, my childhood, that's my era, it was feel-good music. You know what I'm saying?
Absolutely.
And it stopped feeling good for a while. Mm-hmm. And I stopped listening to it because I got tired of hearing women being called bitches and hoes. Mm-hmm. But now when I listen to your music, I've been listening to you all week, and I hear the purity, the genuine. You want to keep listening to it, and it makes you feel good, and you do bring us back to that 70s. Where my parents, when we had, mom and dad used to have car parties and Marvin Gaye would be playing, that was joy for us. Mm-hmm. So now where do you see?
Family music.
Yes.
Yeah.
Do you see R&B coming back to that, to building that part of our culture, because you bring love back? I feel love when I hear you sing and your lyrics. Is that going to happen again for us as a culture?
I think so. We just have to remind ourselves of where we come from. And I don't think we have enough people reminding the young generation where what those words meant and how bad those words were. So they just need to be reminded. And I think it takes artists like myself to talk more of like what Marvin Gaye talked about, what's going on, what's really happening in this world, and make it fun again. I mean, I think these kids, they want to have fun as well. They want to enjoy the music. We can still make those walking down the street. The Slaves, the Slave album, and Earth, Wind and Fire, Frankie Beverly and Liz. I mean, there's so many great bands as well that were amazing back in the day. There you go. And most young artists would never even think about. They don't think about adding live music. Having a band come in and play, as opposed to just having a producer. Just doing all the different sounds. Yeah, exactly. Mm-hmm. So I think it's going to take. For one, falling in love with instruments, that's got to be something that's important, because I fell in love with instruments, and that allowed me to incorporate that all in my music throughout my career. And if you never had that, and all you got right now is just a drum machine, it'll be tough to sort of get them out of that realm, to pick up a guitar or sit down at the piano. I think the essence of what that is it draws more fun, because it's fun being and playing an instrument. For those who don't, I mean, once they learn a little bit, it just takes you to the next level. I used to sleep with my guitar because, for one, I wanted to learn, and I had a passion just for the music. I wanted to figure that thing out. And even to this day, I still play almost every day, and it's still fun to me. I mean, you got rap now that's really big, but they are now starting to incorporate live music with their shows, which is something that never happened before. Mm-hmm. So I see a movement coming. I see something happening, and they're singing as well. Some rappers are singing. I mean, Drake is pretty cool. I mean, I give him credit because he's one of the ones that's sort of setting the tone a little bit more, more so than others. So I do see there's a chance and opportunity, for it to happen. And who knows, a group may come out that's rap, that has the skill with bands and also singing. It remains to be seen. I'm only hoping for the best.
With this independence deal that you have, are you going to reproduce other talents, other gifts, and present them to the world?
That's certainly my goal. Certainly my goal. I like to be a part in finding talent. I want to start sort of the American Idol version of R&B. You strictly going for groups, so to speak. Yeah. Because I haven't seen a good group in a long time. Harmonies, there you go. Yeah. And something that still makes you, when they just drop the music and their vocals, it's just absolutely powerful. And everybody blends and it sounds great together. Right. So I'm looking for all of that. When it comes to singing and R&B. It'd be great if I started something like that. Just search for new talent.
That would be revolutionary.
I know Chicago has a lot of great talent. New York, Detroit. Untapped. Cleveland, Atlanta. There's a lot of different places.
I was watching in Africa, and we're going to wrap. I was watching in Africa, Japan, and the energy. How do you stay so consistent?
Oh, wow. I tell you, like I say, the anointing. I really don't know. I mean, I say to my crew all the time, I rarely get hoarse. I rarely lose my voice, and I can go really, really hard. I mean, I sing a lot in church, but not as much as some people would think that I sing. I mean, I play more music than anything. I just think I'm really blessed. I'm really fortunate, to be able to. And plus, I care a lot about it. I mean, I care a lot about the notes that's coming out of my mouth, and I want to execute each one, properly. And I think sometimes and I love being up there. I love being on stage and getting that, reaction from the audience. It's like, wow, that was pretty dope. So that to me, that means something. And each and every time I get an opportunity to do that, I hit the stage as if it's my last time. And that's another thing that I keep me back.
Well, thank you so much. Thank you for your talent. Thank you for your gift, your crew, your team. Very hospitable. They carry your spirit. And we thank you for stopping by to talk to us. We know you're busy. We know the tour is a lot. We've been hearing about it. We've been promoting it on the live radio show this week, the interview. And wow, your spirit is phenomenal. I mean, it's one thing to be a great artist. It's another thing to be a great talent. But when I sit and talk to you, I feel your spirit and I feel your heart. And that means more than anything. Really. So thank you for being with us. Thank you for watching. This is the Movement Magazine in collaboration with Smooth Jazz 90.5 FM. Keep it locked. We got more coming. Peace.
Look at you. You're a pro, girl.
I'm trying. This is my first time out. I just finished grad school. This is my first time picking up the mic in about a year and a half.
You done well.